the other person can have, let's say, a red mark or a scratch. Hey everybody, good afternoon. This is David Kohlmeyer, the problem solver. Welcome to the show. Every single week we are solving problems. Myself and other problem solvers come on the show to basically help people in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas and Henderson, which is Clark County. Of course, there's people listening all over the United States of America, but basically we're here at the Sticky Paws studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. So welcome to the show. I am a retired police officer, 17 years in law enforcement. I worked with the Henderson Police, the MTA Police, and NYPD. I use my background and experience to help people. Again, every single week we're solving problems. I actually have a progressive web app, which is theproblemsolver.vegas, where people can go online and basically put in a problem, concern. It's on the screen if you're actually watching. If you're listening, again, theproblemsolver.vegas. Click on some of the tabs. If you have a problem, different templates will pop up. Put in your name, phone number, information, and we basically, myself or other problem solvers will basically give you a call to basically help you out. I'm also available 24/7, 7 days a week. You can call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, text me at 5 a.m. I will respond back. Again, any problem, legal issue, whatever you got, I'm here to help out. Just like when I was a police officer in uniform, I was helping people every single day of the week. I'm doing that now without being in uniform. So again, welcome to the Problem Solver Show, and thanks for joining us. Today I'm here with an amazing person. I'm here with Daryl Jones, who basically is with A360, who is a digital business consultant. And I'm so glad that you're here on the show today. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, David. I appreciate it.
So I know that we know each other for a little bit, and basically I wanted to bring you on the show to basically talk about how you're helping local businesses, especially because of COVID taking place. Like, we're basically trying to jumpstart local businesses, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me A360, which I love A360. Tell me a little bit about A360. What does it mean? What does it stand for?
Okay, well, the A in A360 stands for Ascension. So it's Ascension 360 Business Consultants. And what we do is we provide a well-rounded approach to help grow business. Or if you need to start a business or you have a passion, that's our passion, is helping you fulfill yours. So Ascension 360 Business Consultants is the full name. But, for brevity's sake, we'll say A360.
I like it. I can see A360 shirt coming soon. I like the marketing of the shirts.
Definitely.
So here's a question for you. So tell us just a little bit about yourself, where you're from originally, how you got started.
Originally from Los Angeles, California. Got started in this particular business by being in call centers every day, starting off in sales. And what inspired me to start my own business is seeing how, nothing against the industry or whatever, but I saw that I wasn't being valued the way that I should. And I was moving up in the companies as I went from the actual floor to, management, supervising. I started seeing more behind the curtain, as they say, and I could do this. I can do this for myself. And as a matter of fact, I see what the industry standard is as far as compensation. And it's not about the money, it's about getting paid. So it's not just about the compensation, is what I'm saying. It's about being great enough to have someone have that vote of confidence in you to push it or say, okay, you know what, I can deal with this guy. And that's basically the ascension part. We're rising above our circumstances and all the way around the table, 360 degrees. So the reason I got into this business is I can do this for myself. And I see that I can come at a more competitive or lower price point for these services than these companies are providing. And I would get the maximum value for myself. So that's pretty much, what it was.
I think it's great that you're helping local businesses, and you became a local business yourself because basically you're working for other people. And I think anytime that you basically have a lot of experience and knowledge, and you're not sometimes it's just being appreciated where you work is
Right.
more than the money, right?
Right.
So, I laugh because, I worked at several different law firms, and basically, even though I was bringing in a lot of money, like, to me, if I got more like, hey, amazing job, like, great job, like, you're doing amazing. Like,
Right.
if I heard that more often, you didn't have to bonus me because I felt gratified by basically, the acknowledgement that I'm working so hard. But when you,
Right.
and the funny thing was, I think it's like a dog, right? In some regards, like good dog. It sounds funny to say, but the bottom line is we all want to feel good in what we do. And it's not about the money if basically someone's making you feel good by even with the words. Now, they could be lying to you. It could be fake, right? But the whole point is that, you feel good when you basically accomplish something or there's success.
Exactly. You understand exactly what I mean. Right.
So like I said, so I think it's great because you worked for other people before. So now you became a business owner and you're helping other local businesses in Las Vegas basically succeed. And there's more of the digital side basically is where you're at, right?
Right, because everything is digital now. For instance, like with the music industry, and we do music promotion, music marketing, music distribution as well for some of our clients. And with that industry, before it was all mechanical royalties. There were no digital royalties, things of that nature. And now everything, the world is smaller when it comes to getting your name out there now. It's all digital. So that's where I like to focus on the digital marketing, digital branding, digital business consulting, because a lot of people here's the thing, there are some people who have been in business who are trying to transition and don't really know how to get into the digital side of things. They're used to the handshake. I like to call them the handshakers. Mm-hmm. Then there's people that only do digital. Mm-hmm. And like myself, our company, Ascension 360, it's a mobile consultancy. And we found that by being mobile, we keep costs down because we don't have overhead on like a rent space or like an office space, storefront or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I can do it off of the iPad. I can do it off of the Android. I can do it off of anything. And I can come to you. Now, since COVID, things have become more digital because people are really skeptical about the handshake now, like face-to-face. And I noticed that's really easing up, but mm-hmm. It's still, so before COVID, we were already a mobile consultancy. We already did everything digital, and it's kind of built into the business model. Mm-hmm. And we noticed by doing that, we could be more competitive. We can offer more services, and we can offer these digital services that we use to service people to the people.
Got it. It's interesting. I feel like everyone's like so scared of people these days. Like I was with my mother the other day, and she was in my home, and there was someone else that came to visit. And she's like, "I hope you're." She tells this guy that she doesn't really know. She's like, "I hope you're vaccinated."
Right.
It's like, when would you ever say that to somebody? Like, it's kind of like, it's kind of weird. I'm like, Ma, you just don't like, but everyone's like scared. No one wants to die, right?
Right.
So she asked this guy, and then what happens if you're not vaccinated? Then what do you like, get up and walk away from it? Like, no, like I don't believe in vaccination. Like, I'm sorry. So she asked this guy if he was vaccinated. So it was funny, but everyone's scared of people these days. So everything was like online. Like, everyone's like texting, and everyone's keeping 6 feet away, which I understand. It's crazy times right now.
Right.
So here's a question for you. For you personally, so I try to meet about, when we talk about branding and like digital and business and networking and stuff, like I try to meet like 5 people new a week. Sure. Actually, I'm a kind of a rare breed, right? Like I try to do 5 lunches a week with 5 different people. So at the end of the month, I know 20 people. So I had lunch with someone early the first time, and he was doing digital stuff as well. But my question for you is, are you physically doing the digital stuff? Because when I asked this particular guy, I didn't feel like he was doing the digital. I felt that he was contracting it out. Like maybe he understands how everything works.
Right.
And I just didn't feel like he was physically doing it. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if you're contracting out, then I can contract it out to somebody else. So are you actually physically doing the work? Do you have other, the people in India basically working on this stuff or what?
No, not at all. First of all, we're made in the USA.
Philippines at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
Nothing against them, but yeah. It's
a lot of people contracted to India and the Philippines. So you're personally working on this stuff, right?
I work on every account myself.
Got it. Okay, so that's key.
Now,
because when someone says to you like, well, I'll have my people do it. I don't know. I mean, it's nice to know that the person's really physically making it,
Right. Yeah. And I appreciate that. And I think that, to hear that clients would appreciate that, hear that people would appreciate that makes me, it feels good because you never really know. Mm-hmm. Some people are more comfortable with, okay, who are you outsourcing this to? Mm-hmm. I don't outsource anything except for my PR. I have a company that I work with, LaGuardia Media and PR.
Okay.
And you heard of them?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I heard they do a good job.
They do a great job.
Okay.
And so that's as far as my outsourcing goes. Everything else, I take the time, I burn the candlestick at both ends, I stay up late, I grind it out and I handle it myself because I feel like there's something to be said about a personal touch, and people can see that. And I like to involve the clients because I feel like we're heavily invested in each other's success. If you don't succeed, I don't succeed, and I don't feel a sense of fulfillment from the work that I do. Mm-hmm. So it's something to be said about doing it yourself. I work in team settings as well, but that's more for the Ascension business, not for the clients.
So tell me, I'm a local business owner, let's say the Problem Solver, which is new as of about a year ago. If I came to you, what would you do for me? Like, tell me what is the specialty these days Like I want to be like, for me personally, I'm trying to basically get in touch with people where I can help people, right? Like I'm not charging people basically to help them with their problems. I'm basically a retired officer, paying it forward. And my goal mission, this is like my nonprofit situation, what I do. So if I'm a local business owner and I want to basically help people, which is the same way of getting clients, right? What would you do for me personally?
First thing we would do is I would have a consultation with you.
Okay.
See what your pain points are, see exactly what you're trying to accomplish,
Mm-hmm.
see what your end game is, and see how you measure success of a campaign. What are your matrices or your metrics that you use to say, okay, this was successful, or we should do this differently, or certain things like that. That would be the first step I would do. Secondly, let's say you needed a website to go with your app, or you needed an app to supplement your website. I would ask you for all the content that you would want displayed, and I would go ahead and design a campaign around that. There's design that goes with it, the UI, UX, the user experience, user interface portion of it. I don't want to get too wonky or wordy, but there's a few things that I would have to do on a technical side, so I would know. And then other than that, it's just aesthetics. Like I would start there. I would start with how are you reaching these people? And usually, like I said, everything is digital, so it would be with a website or with an app. Social media is a huge part of it. Yeah, I think that's where I would start there.
So basically, in these days, an app and a website is the most important thing to have your presence online.
With a good social media campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, website, app, and a social media campaign. And what are the top ones these days? I hear different things from different people.
Well, you're going to hear that because it really depends on the scope of your business and who your target demographic is. Like, say, social media speaking, Pinterest for like recipes and things of that nature, models, Instagram, interpersonal connections online, Facebook, things like that.
What was it? Interpersonal relationships?
Yeah, interpersonal connections, relationships.
Okay.
Same thing, semantics.
No, I've never heard someone say that, but it's a very good point because I think on Facebook, that's what I have. I have different relationships and connections with people.
Right.
Instagrams, I notice more models and, videos,
Exactly.
and also I think younger generation, right?
Right. And then you have TikTok for the, bam, now you see me, now you don't. And it builds the curiosity. It adds entertainment value to the company as well. Now, for me personally speaking, like Ascension 360, LinkedIn.
For business owners.
These social
Which one
media.
was the other one?
Alignable.
Alignable. I've seen that before. I've never actually logged on to that one. How do you like Alignable?
I really like Alignable a lot.
Okay.
I like the algorithm that they use because they send certain newsletters. Like mine would be Spring Valley, Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, hey, you should check this out. I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to check this out. And it works for me.
I used to get a lot of these emails, but I don't know if I've logged on or just when different businesses come apart, right? They send you an email.
Right.
So here's a question for you. What's the difference between Alignable and LinkedIn in regards to like your thought process, your expertise?
I think LinkedIn has more C-suite individuals like CFOs, CMOs, CEOs.
Higher level executives?
Right.
And then Alignable is more like small business owners?
Right.
Okay, it's good to know.
I mean, they have those C-suite individuals, but from my experience, it's few and far between. But they're there. They're there. You find them, you mine them,
So depending what kind of business that you are, like for me, maybe I'm more local, that Alignable basically, that you would help me work that angle.
Right.
So here's a good question. So what would you do? Okay, so let's say you get me up and running. I got a website, I got basically an app, and you're helping me with social media campaigning. Mm-hmm. What would you do for me as a local business owner if I was on like Alignable? Like tell me what you do. Like what services can you provide? Because basically like LinkedIn's too high and I want more local businesses if I was like a pizza shop.
Okay, so in that case, what I would do is I would build your network first. See, the thing with any networking situation, it's not about what the people can do for you. It's about what you can bring to the table. So in Alignable, as a platform, what I would do is I would find, first of all, things that align with your values as a company and people who are posting things that align with your values as a company. And I would add them to your network. Mm-hmm. I would comment on those. And see, Alignable is more of a referral site, like small business owners referring business, farm outs and things like that. So it would be perfect for you. Hey, if you know anyone who needs the problem solver, anyone who needs to get a representation as far as legally, then I can go ahead and you shoot me that and I'll shoot you this for whatever business, that you're referring. And it doesn't have to be in the same industry with Alignable. Now, as opposed to LinkedIn is more of, well, I don't know, because I like LinkedIn for the fact that when business gets slow, I can find work on LinkedIn as well.
Basically, you're messaging different people that maybe, hey, you're interested, I do this, I do digital business.
Right.
Consulting, I can help you, right? You're messaging those people.
Right.
But isn't the same thing with Alignable? Aren't you messaging those people too?
You're messaging those people, but it's a different structure.
Okay.
It's pretty much the same. And that's the thing, like with product development and social media platforms are a product. You're always looking to improve or disrupt the industry. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're trying to add rims. You know what I mean? You're trying to add new spokes.
Okay.
And
for a business.
Right. And I think that's
trying to keep it real,
is.
something different, new, fresh.
Right. So Alignable is like, okay, you guys got that. I got this. Small businesses.
Okay.
And it's good for individuals. It's good for businesses, sole proprietors, gig workers.
Okay.
Things of that nature.
It's interesting because I always feel the same thing. Like you got to be different. Like, you can't, I give an example. I deal with a lot of attorneys. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's like the same ad, like everyone, like they show a car accident, someone gets injured, like call me, like why call you compared to the other guy? Maybe this one's good looking or that one's a good looking lady. Like, what, you know what I'm saying? There's like,
that's a good point. Create
more value, but like, how do you change that up? Like what would be your recommendation? Like if you're an accident attorney, like how do you do things differently these days? Here basically at Sticky Paw Studio, basically they always talk about TikTok and they're like, you need to do more videos and so on like that. It takes time to do that. What are some creative strategies that you would use that if you met with some, a lot of people are going to be hearing this podcast, what would be some of the creative strategies that you would use for, let's just say, doctors and lawyers? Because they're kind of similar. They're both professional people looking for clients, right?
Right.
What would be some creative ideas?
Well, first of all, the industry...
Cutting you off guard here.
And I like that.
Making you work creativity. Though.
I like that because I'm gonna watch this and take notes and add it to my strategies.
Okay.
So off the cuff, I would say that, first of all, you have to understand these industries are inbound industries. Mm-hmm. People are already looking for this service. Mm-hmm. They need a doctor. They need a lawyer already. So that takes a lot of pressure off. The next thing is
because they're actually looking for that particular profession.
Right.
For that help, the assistance.
Right.
Okay.
Now, finding the place where these people pool, that would be what the creative strategy would be used for. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, I had a campaign for a lawyer network where I was thinking about going down to all like the family courts, the self-help legal centers, mm-hmm. and promoting this company. Hey, you need legal representation? I got a guy for you. Mm-hmm. And that's one, like, there's still something to be said about the handshake, the in-person pitch. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, I'm here to help you, So that would be one creative strategy is actually like for a lawyer mm-hmm. per se, or a legal network. I would go to like self-help family centers, self-help legal centers, and set up a booth or set up a table or just walk around and hand out the marketing material. Talk to them because this is where the people pool that actually need this service. They're looking for it. As far as doctors, and there's things like trade publications, trade shows, festivals where you can set up a booth, things of that nature.
Do you believe in booths? Isn't that old school? Like
it is old school, but hey, old school works.
Got it.
If these things are still around, then they have value. And there's conventions. This is Las Vegas. There's conventions every year, mm-hmm. multiple.
So basically, you depending upon the practice of what kind of business, you're basically going to review everything, and you're going to come up with like a creative strategy session for them in order to basically help them figure out what they need to do to basically make their phone ring and to bring in business.
Right.
Whether it's a pizza shop or a law firm or a doctor's office.
Doesn't matter.
Doctor's office.
It's just about knowing that industry.
So once you become educated about the industry, unless you already know it, basically you'll come up with some different strategies, which I think is great. So the bottom is I think that you need to sit down and kind of, right, it's got to be more of a one-on-one with different businesses to see exactly what they need. Even though everybody needs customers, right, mm-hmm. you got to come up with some different strategies. Maybe that's a little bit different as well.
Right.
All right. So basically, so we talked a little bit. So basically you do websites, you do apps, you can help any type of social media platforms and being creative, or do you do like the postings as well, like for businesses?
I automate that service for businesses if they need be. Like I'll write the blog post
Okay.
for a business. I'll write out different posts. And the thing about social media is, and this is important because a lot of people don't understand this, it's not about your business. No one is going to go to your page if you just say, hey, this is what I got. Hey, this is what I'm doing. Hey, this is what I'm offering. It's about posting things that are relevant to the people, you know, because if they go to your page and they see the same thing, they're going to know what to expect. They're going to scroll right past you.
Okay.
Oh, he's just dropping a new coupon, or he's just telling us what his new offering is or his new service is. You have to, for instance, let me bring it down to eye level. With Man-Child Jones, the real Man-Child Jones is an artist. It's the blog, right? And in the blog, there's different segments. Now, what I did with this is, as an artist, reviewed other artists. Now, what that did is it enabled them to post it on their section or on their social media platforms. And it, by them doing that, they're also posting the Man-Child Jones, right? Because it was put on that platform. And so that's a creative way to build your network. They say, like, when you're a musician, partnering with other musicians is a good way to do it. Now, I just took that concept and made it digital. You know how musicians would gig together? Mm-hmm. Well, we gig together on social media.
What's the reason why? Because basically you're influencing their market too.
Right.
Other people get to know you, like
And
Justin
you're adding
Bieber with
value
somebody
to them.
else.
And you're adding value to them, you know, so
adding value to them, and then also getting into their sphere of influence.
Right.
Right.
And it also makes you a sort of an influencer, or sort of an, not just an influencer, but like an expert in your field.
Got it. You know, I will share one thing. One of the things that I do as the problem solver is that, so I have the progressive web apps, right? Which I guess a little bit different. We can talk about that in a second. But what I'll do is, if there's local people, like there's someone here called Vicky Vegas, who basically is like a new influencer in general. I actually said, look, I'll sponsor your app, but basically I need to, help out in different, I need to basically, I need you to help me basically refer people to the problem solver, right?
You got it.
So I would pay for their app and then basically, and be like a partner with them, because I would never get to her people, right? Everyone that knows Vicky,
right,
basically, they know Vicky, they're going to go through Vicky. They don't know David, right? They don't know the problem solver. So it's me working with her, and then I'm actually helping her create the app, which doesn't have the knowledge or the experience. But with me, what a little bit different is I use the app a little bit differently than most people. So like, I'll give you an example. Okay. Like if you get leads for something, if you text them the app, they get added to their home screen. Right. Where a lot of people may not look at a website, right? They may look at a website to review things, but they say like 78% of the people basically are working off their phones.
Right.
So when you text them the app and you say add it to your home screen, you're hoping that basically it stays on the, on their phone, and then basically you could do like push notifications and stuff like that. So I do really believe that I started doing that with a few people, with the problem solver, basically like sponsoring other people's apps, so that I'm basically now like in business with them, a relationship, but I'm paying for them because I know they're new. Kind of like a new musician or something like that, I'm trying to help them and sponsor them as well. I think that's really important. I think a lot of people don't like realize that. I think people look at me like it's weird, like why am I doing that, right? But I'm hoping that we're going to have like a partnership. We're going to work together.
Right.
I think that it's kind of like, it's a little bit of old school and new school, because basically we're using the technology as well.
Right. And then that's a good point. That's a good point. And you reach people that you wouldn't necessarily reach. And she has someone to sponsor her app. Now, that's something that adds value to her, and you're adding value to yourself. Win-win situation.
Yeah. So I do like that in general. Like, I mean, I know that no one's ever approached me like that. And if they did, I'd be really impressed. Like I would be more loyal to them, in general.
Right.
So I think that it's important for any local business or listening that there's different ways of doing things. Like you may say, I don't need any digital, or I may not do this, but there's other things you could be doing, right? Like you could be sponsoring other people. So if you're in healthcare, you may want to sponsor, let's say, if you're a primary physician, and there's a chiro, maybe you want to sponsor the chiro to help them, so they basically refer business to the doctor, right?
Absolutely.
Or, yeah, so there's different ways of doing things. So I think the key really is the think out of the box. And I think what you said before is, and I was going to ask you to do the same thing to any of our listeners at the end, and I think that you'll be willing to do it, is maybe to offer a free creative strategy session for any of the listeners that mentioned that they've heard you on the problem solver, that you would sit with them for an hour and basically come up with some creative strategies, by using, whether they want to use you or not for digital business, but that you would sit down for an hour, evaluate their business, especially small business owners or people that come back from COVID, coming up with some creative strategy, and then basically, and also sharing what kind of services that you could provide.
I would not be opposed to doing that.
Got it. So I think that'd be great. So anyone that are listening, I think that we have Daryl here, put him on the spot to do like a 1 hour creative strategy session about what they could be doing to basically bring in business. If you're a local business owner, basically locally in town, I'm sure you could do FaceTime or meet in person. I like meeting people in person.
As long as they don't
6
have a
feet in
problem
the
with
mask,
it, I
right?
don't have a problem with it.
So as long as you, I think that's the golden thing. And I always want to meet people. I think it's so, when you're on the phone with people, it's just not the same. You don't create the same rapport.
Right.
So a creative strategy session for any local businesses basically that are trying to basically get to the next level, whether it's Alignable or LinkedIn or TikTok, whatever it may be, and then specifically websites, apps, all that stuff that you do.
And how to leverage that. You heard it here first on the Problem Solver, Ascension 360. We're down to do it.
Got it. Awesome. That's great. So at least that we got something for the listeners and viewers. Here's my question in regards to the app, because I'm new at this as well. My friend basically, is always involved in these progressive web apps. And I'm always told that it's basically that anybody can add it to their phone, to their home screen, and then basically it's free. There's no battery life that's taken from the phone. Right. And then there's no memory space that you basically need when you use an iPhone or Android or any of these phones. My question is, some people say to me like, oh, you really want to have an app that you can like download from the App Store. Now, recently my phone basically was out of memory because I have all these pictures. I never delete anything, So long story short, I would not be able, if someone says download this app, I couldn't do it.
Right.
And I just never had the time, and I'm not like a techie, and I'm procrastinating. So the bottom line is I just wouldn't get any new apps. So when I tell people the same thing, some people say, oh, I have no space. I'm like, it's okay. You don't need space. It's a progressive web app. And I'm like the only guy walking around town, saying progressive web app.
And that's great because you're ahead of the curve. That's where it's going.
Okay.
Because until they come out with a terabyte.
Which I think is coming, isn't it?
It's
terabyte
coming.
iPhone?
It might be coming. I'm not sure. I'll get back to you on that one. But
so when there's such a large memory.
Right, when you have more storage in either iPhone, iOS, or Android, progressive web apps are the way to go. And that's great that you have them because you're ahead of the curve there.
When I say it to some people, I think they think I'm crazy. Like I'm the one explaining it. I'm not like a tech guy. And people like never heard of it. I say progressive web app. The app guy that I was using that I'm good friends with, he loves when I keep saying progressive web app. And I say it like no one else knows what I'm talking about.
Well, you're branding it for him, first of all.
Okay.
And the progressive part is all the things that you mentioned. Don't use your storage. Can add it to the home screen. But here's the major question. What's the difference between a website and a progressive web app?
Good question.
They're still a domain. So that's the thing.
Would you say there's still a domain?
Right. It's still a .com or .lv.
So do you believe that people should have both, right, at this time?
I believe that people should have an option to have either or. I don't feel like there's any wrong answer with that one.
So for the problem solver, right, I have the problemsolvershow.com, which you helped me basically create the website to basically help talk about the show. And then basically I have the problemsolver.vegas, which is that progressive web app.
Right.
So when I talk to people, right, and tell me what your thoughts are, when I text people and I send them the app, I wouldn't send them the website because they may look at it for a quick minute and then it's gone. And I don't think people would like add the website to your home screen, which you can do that too.
Yeah, you can do that as well.
But the app is more user-friendly when it's on your phone. So do you feel like what I'm doing is good? I mean, again, this is like if there was other businesses. Website for basically showcasing the business. And then basically if people are using their phone or you're texting them. See, a lot of people, businesses do not text, right? So I'll give you an example. Like when I worked at a law firm previously, I would text every single potential new client. Right. And one, because I wanted to have my information, and I knew that other lawyers weren't even texting people. So recently, I'm not with one of the firms. They're not texting people. So, like they can send their app, they can send text messages. And I feel like that's the way of conversion because you want to help people in a law firm. But if they don't have your text, your information, a photo of you, a video of you, anything, I mean, that's where the app would have all that stuff. So I've always been big of texting everybody, and then I want to include the app. But most people don't do it.
Right, and that's sad. I mean, I really feel like you have to have some kind of SMS blast or at least push notifications. Because, all right, for my personal algorithm, it's expose, engage, convert.
Expose,
engage, convert.
Convert, I like that.
You expose your offering, your business, what you can do to the public. You engage them through social media, through the website, through the app, or through something like a SMS blast or email blast or, And QR coding is in there somewhere too. And then that's how you convert them, because by exposing the business, they get to know you. They get to know you, who you are. As an owner for small businesses and startups, and as a company for larger entities. So you expose that, you give them the choice, the option. Now, after you expose yourself to them, then you engage them through these channels. And SMS is a big one because, like you said, about 70 to 80% of people are working off of their phone. No one's walking around with a desktop. Everybody has a laptop, but their phone is what they go to first. You know what I mean? So SMS is a big part of it. And then that's the way to convert. You send them a promo code, or there's a thing now, text 4473, or text business to 4473 and get a free ebook about how to start your own business or something like that.
What do we consider that? What do we call that for conversion?
What do you mean?
Like, what do we call, like, I always see this. I just never, I'm not big into that for some reason. Like, you always see this in seminars. They'll say, like, text this, to.
Right.
What do we call that type of engagement?
Okay, so
like text.
It's all digital marketing.
So it's all digital marketing.
It falls under digital marketing. But it would be SMS marketing.
And that's what it is, SMS marketing.
Right.
I don't know why. Tell me why I'm against it. Like, for some reason, I feel like maybe I'm just don't know what I'm doing, because you get confused. Like, text 486-232, whatever it may be, right?
Right.
Maybe because I'm not like that.
I think it's a little cumbersome for people sometimes. Like, it's a little too much. I want a number that I can text and get a response back. You know?
I just feel these days, I feel like it should be like, just make like a website domain that's really easy. Like, tell people, go to www.12345.com,
right,
and then it takes you to the link.
Absolutely. And there's also
I just think it should be like easy, or these days the QR code, right?
QR code,
scan the QR code.
Optimized URLs, like lv.com, or like you said, like .vegas. These things trigger certain things in cyberspace, especially when you're talking about search engines. So you optimize the URL, you have everything that you do in it. Like, our website is dreamlaunch360.com. What we do is launch dreams. That's it. Okay. We help you with your launch. We do strategy proposals, etc. But the company is Ascension 360.
Okay.
So
how would you optimize like the problemsolver.vegas or problemsolvershow.com? Like, when you say optimize, what is it? Is that behind the scenes, like the backlinks and stuff like that?
It starts behind the scenes, but it's more than keywords. It's meta tags, metadata, basically. So, and we just
can you explain that to other people in like a less techie thing? I've heard of metadata and the metadata. Is that behind the screens, like the words? Right.
So, for instance, and this is a little trade secret, you hear it here on Problem Solver First.
Problem Solver First. Here we go.
Say you're using the Wix.
Travis, close your eyes. Close your ears. Go ahead.
Say you're using the Wix platform, right? Now, what they make you do, because we're dealing with SEO when we're talking about metadata.
Got it.
Search engine optimization. So you have to have, there's on-page activities and off-page activities.
Okay.
Off-page activities would include like blogs, social media that's connected to the website. On-page activities would be, you need to have your top 3 keywords in the copy on the website at face value, prima facie, like on its face. It has to be there.
Like expose, engage, and convert.
Expose, engage, and convert.
So you would need that like on the front page.
Right.
To help what? To help is it metadata? To help with the conversion of people.
It gets tricky, and that's all I'm giving you right now.
And SEO and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Got it.
It gets tricky, but
so you're going to do a free metadata strategy session as well for people. Free metadata, really? A free meta tag. Everything's free here today over here at the Problem Solver.
All right.
All right. So
I'll do it for you, David.
So optimizing the URLs. I never really had a whole conversation about all this stuff, so it's kind of interesting. I'm taking notes here. Okay. I'm like in school now.
You're seeing behind the curtain.
I'm definitely behind the curtain. I agree. I'm always running. I don't know. I'm running somewhere. I'm running the Sticky Paws studio for my podcast. So optimizing URL, the digital marketing for the SMS marketing. I mean, there's so many things that are basically out there, right? Even like your I don't know if you use it as a tagline. I feel it's a good tagline, like A360, expose, engage, and convert. Do you have that together or no?
My tagline is bet on yourself, start something. because my main demographic are people who don't know how to get into business. They have this great idea. They have all the support from the community, their family, their friends. They're like, you could do this. But how? And that's why I started Ascension 360, because one reason I started it is because it's for the everyman, and woman. It's because people think that it's way harder to get into business than it really is.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't know which type of entity to start that would serve them best. You have DBAs or sole proprietorships. You have LLCs, limited liability companies. You also have PLLCs for professional services. You have 501c3s for, and a bunch of different. It gets pretty overwhelming for people who just want to make pizza. You know what I mean? They just want to be creative.
During my lunch conversation, meeting someone new today, like I said before, it was interesting. My main thing is kind of, like I said, old school in regards to like meeting people and networking people, even though I have an app and I have a website, but I'm just really not big with, the whole digital thing. And you really need to have someone like yourself basically like walking you through behind the scenes. I don't think it's something that you learn overnight, especially if you're like a lawyer or a doctor. You already got your own stuff going on. You just need to hire someone to do it. My brother always says that, if you don't know how to like do an oil change, you hire someone to do the oil, but if you do it, you could screw it up. To me, it's like if I wanted to paint the wall, I would like screw something up, cost me more money in the long run. So it pays to basically hire a professional like yourself. So that's why I think it's important where A360 would come into play, because you're a professional, you know what you're doing. And the thing is, sometimes you could be wasting time, right? Like maybe I'm working on the SMS marketing when I'm like, wait a second, you could just have a QR code and then like link it to the app, link it to the website, and like, or link it to a spot where you fill your name and information, right? And times are changing every single day. Like I laugh because I'm on the different, like I'm on like Instagram and TikTok to learn more about it, and I feel like every day it's changing. Right. And every week I come to Sticky Paws and the engineers here say, no, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's like, it's constantly changing, right?
Right, constantly. Everything is in flux, man. And
that's why you need someone like yourself basically on top of the game, right? Hey, this week something's new. Instagram is now allowing you to do this, or you can go live, and you should start mixing that, add it to your app, add it to your website, right? I mean, there's this, It's basically like a big circle that you're basically creating. And then sometimes you have to throw different things in there to get people to engage, to expose, engage, and to convert.
That's it.
And you keep saying it like over and over again. All right. So is there anything new these days that you're basically doing and working on? Anything else that I'm missing here besides, I think the optimizing, which is also like SEO, right? Which is a whole other situation with SEO.
Right.
How do you know when someone, here's a good question. So, someone that I know recently says, you pay a lot of money for SEO, like people just don't know what's really being done. Like, how do you really prove? I think there's also some website, right, to show like how you place, and if people Google your location of what number you are, how close you are, how you list. Tell us about how you know that you're not being taken advantage of by somebody. Like you're basically a trustworthy company doing digital consulting, digital business consulting. How do you know if someone's really doing stuff? It could be someone in India.
That's a great
Nothing
question.
against people from India, but a lot of things are outsourced. How do you know that they're really doing the work and you're not just paying a monthly bill and you don't know what they're doing?
That's a great question. First of all, if they don't offer you a sort of a sit rep at the end of the month, or they don't tell you what they're doing, they don't itemize it and list it, like for monthly maintenance.
Okay.
If they don't tell you what they're doing, or they don't add extra value,
okay,
that's a red flag right there. They have to offer you some kind
of
analytic
like a report?
Exactly. They have to offer some kind of analytic report. Secondly, the proof is in the pudding. Google yourself. You Google yourself. Go to Bing. Go to Yahoo. Go to all the search engines.
Got it. That's a good point.
And you can see if, hey, I don't see enough movement. Now, there could be reasons for that, because things take time, to kick in. I would
digest say in the digital space.
Yeah. So,
it's funny you say that, because I look up my name and I click on images and video to see what pops up. And so like now I've had some help basically with adding like the problem solver to like YouTube. So more of it's popping up more, more of the videos of the problem solver. Or I click on images. Like if I put in David Kohlmeyer, Las Vegas, then I have a lot of different images, which I like because I want people to know that I'm basically an expert, even though I'm not an attorney, that I'm a retired police officer, that I'm an expert in the legal field in general and helping people. So when you click on images and my face pops up a bunch of places, even if I take a screenshot of that and send it to people, it basically just shows that I'm known in the community.
Right. And you are.
So I think that's a cool thing. So with yours, you're saying is by Googling the different, what do we call them again? Like Bing is considered like search engines, search engines to see how you place,
Right.
images, video, what is placing.
Right.
And as long as it's popping up more, you know that they're doing a good job, right?
Right. In a nutshell. I mean, it gets
Is there
a
a
little more
report?
complicated.
What about reports?
Now, see, the reports, there's two different types of reports, two main type of reports. There's the analytic reports to see your reach and engagement and things like that. And then there's an internal audit report that, at least for Ascension 360, what I do. See, I recently, here's a technique, right? I recently got my website audited. I was solicited for an SEO package. I said, okay, cool. Let me see what you guys are up to. Let's see if it's on the level. And it was, so they did a free audit of my site.
Okay. I've seen that before. I've had that done.
Right. So that's one way to do it. And they hit all the pressure points and the pain points that I myself would look at as matrices or as a metrics. So that would be like an internal audit that we would do and report to you. Then there's just the regular analytics that come from the platforms that you use. Mm-hmm. They're built in. And then you combine the two to come up with a sit rep, like a situation report for your client.
Okay.
That's just my particular strategy that I use.
By another company basically trying to like get your business, they're going to do
that was just a yardstick.
I've seen that before. I kind of like that because
It's
actually
like checking out my competitor.
I've actually had that done, and I would send that report, to like who I was working with, and said, "Hey, I did a quick report." I didn't really do it, right. But basically said I did a quick review of the SEO digital, and this is what I found.
Right.
And I would send it to them, like I was doing some type of major, and like I said, I'm not a techie, so. What do you think? So how does your work basically stand out from what others do in general? And I know we talked about a little different things, but is anything something specific that you do that stand out, like from these other companies that are out there that are trying to pitch you? What do you do differently? What do you do that stands out?
Okay, so first of all, I believe in eye to eye as a mobile consultancy, right? Which is, first of all, different from anybody else. Mm-hmm. There's not people, you come to the office, you sit in the conference room and we talk it out and then you go. No, I will meet you at a Starbucks. I'll meet you at an In-N-Out. These are true stories. I'll meet you anywhere.
You meet me home in my pajamas.
Done it. I'll meet you anywhere.
My SEO pajamas.
And I'm on call 24 hours a day. There's no 9 to 5 with me.
I was just
sort of like you in that way.
It's funny. You know how they have those the tags? What do you call it? Like in the Army? What do you call
Dog
them?
tags?
Dog tags. You need to hand out meta tags. Is there such a thing as a meta tag?
Okay, now you get into my area. Stay in your lane.
I'm staying.
I'm going to steal that idea.
You have to like put it on them. Like, this is your meta tag now. Like, you're now connected. All right. So bottom line is you're mobile. You go anywhere.
Right.
It's not like you have to. You're going to basically be, you yourself are user friendly.
Exactly.
In regards to that.
That's
okay.
great, man.
Which I think is great because I will share with you. A lot of these days I laugh because everyone's like on Amazon, they want to buy something, they just swipe up and it comes, right?
Right.
So I even say like with lawyers, like they want to just swipe up and just have a lawyer come to their home, which these days I actually like. Think about people, you don't want to leave your home, and it actually helps in regards, I think, of converting in regards to a lawyer, and then also it helps the client because they don't have to leave their home, they don't know where to go and parking and stuff like that, and also it gets stressful. So I think these days, like anything swiping up, people want you to come to them. Right. Which I'm all about that too. As a problem solver, basically, as a retired cop, I love helping people meet some with their location, their home, whatever I can do to help out. I just enjoy at the end of the day basically helping people and when they have problems. And I find most people, when they have problems, they can't really, they don't know where to go or resources. To me, it's so natural, but it's a game. Like I spoke with someone today, they said they're looking for a job. I said, how many times did you apply for a job? They said 5. I said, call me back when you send out 95 more resumes or you've done 95 more applications. Like everyone's hiring. What's 5, And I always remember my brother back in the day before digital. He wanted a job. He would like open up the Yelp pages, get like 100 addresses, and he would write human resources department, and he would send a resume, and he went to the post office and mailed 100 envelopes. And he got like 3 or 5 phone calls, and he got a job.
It's a numbers game. It's a contact sport.
But I always like when people say want a job, like you went to 5 locations. Like if I wanted a job, I would walk up and down Charleston. There's hundreds of businesses.
I've done
Dress up in a suit and tie and basically go knock on the door and basically tell them you want to work. I'm sure you're going to find the job. Like it's really, how committed are you to get the job? I mean, you have to do something, right?
Right. And I think that's the space that we feel, especially for those who are, right now, jobs are everywhere. Mm-hmm. Employers are looking for employees more than employees are looking for jobs.
Absolutely.
Because,
especially this time and people are getting higher wages now.
Right. But that's the space that I feel like these people have a passion, they have a gift, you know, and they know their industry. That's why they only apply to certain things. Now, what if, just spitballing here, what if that person that's applying to be a secretary starts her own secretarial service where she staffs other people's businesses, you know, or HR specialists? And that's where, but it's not my job to pitch your passion. You know, it's my job to fulfill that passion and do everything I can to make sure that it works. You know,
what do you like the most about, you know, what you do in general? Because you're really helping businesses succeed. And again, about being on the Problem Solver Show, my goal is to basically help people solve problems. And you're helping people by basically increasing revenue, which is helping them basically to be in business and to pay for other employees and for their families and pay their bills and expenses and to make a profit so that their lifestyle is better than if you didn't have a job or a business. So you're definitely helping people solve their problem because, like with me, I know nothing about digital. So I think it's great what you do and help people. But what's the most that you like doing about your job is the creativity. You mentioned about, you know, I think everybody wants to feel a sense of success and basically for your efforts and the thank you and thank you so much for your help. But is there something specific that you really enjoy doing that's gratitude?
I mean, I think the answer is in the question itself. Like the fact that you're sitting here, I'm sitting here with the problem solver and the problem solver is telling me that I'm solving problems, I'm paid. That's compensation for me. Like, in other words, it's about the greatness of it all. It's about achieving greatness. It's about being invested in my client's success and them being more confident in their abilities and capabilities because of me, because I showed them, hey, well, you're doing pretty good right here. You don't need me for this, you know, but I would suggest this. That's what it's about. It's about greatness. It's not about money. Money is a byproduct. You know, it's not about the money. It's about getting paid. It's about that person having the confidence in you to say, here, take my money, please.
Got it.
You know, and what you do with the money is up to you. But
I always laugh because someone said the other day to me, like I said, it's not about the money. Money is just paper. You know, it's about the value that you provide.
Absolutely.
Know?
Absolutely.
And this was, someone that I was friends with. And basically I said that, you know, I really appreciate what you do. You know, just tell me what I owe you. You know, like it's just money, right? Like next month I'll make my, you know, money. And so whatever, you know, if you're going to do something with the money and travel, and, you know, I appreciate your time. You know, that's more valuable than the money situation. So just let me know what I owe you. So any inside secrets that you want to basically share, you know, if you were a customer, you know, what you wish you knew about your trade specifically, is there any specific inside secrets that you want to share?
Okay. So mostly what I get is inquiries on how to start a business and advertising. People they don't know how to advertise. Like, not they're trying it and they're doing it wrong. They just don't know where to start. So I would say one trade secret is the buy is the why. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is it's not called advertising, it's called media buying, which the media buy is what you're advertising. It's the format. There used to be, they said the medium was the message. You know what I mean? But I say the buy is the why. You know, it's the reason for the advertising. You just have to know which format works best for your business. Is it direct mail? Is it out-of-home advertising like billboards or things like that? Is it networking events? It's all advertising, and you are your own billboard. Your smile is your business card. These things really make sense. So one thing I would tell people is market research and media buying is what push advertising. You have to know your demographic. You have to know median income. You have to know median household income. You have to know these things. I don't want to get too wordy, but you have to know these things in order to even start thinking about advertising. So say you put on, for lack of a diaper commercial during the Indy 500. Well, you know that most people that watch the Indy 500 are males from this age to this age. They're not worried about buying diapers. But certain advertising agencies, they would sell you that slot just to take the money and that's what I mean. It's not about the money, because I could take your work, do a bad job, you know, and not care. But it's about what's best for the client. I feel like I'm heavily invested in the client.
Got it.
You know, and their success. So that's pretty much all the trade secret.
What advice would you have for a customer looking to hire a provider like you, someone that does digital consulting? You know, what kind of advice? You know, they may meet with you, they may meet with other people. What should they be What advice do you want to give them?
And that comes up in the consultation. Whether they choose me or not to handle the services, they leave me well prepared. So what I would tell them is know your end game, know exactly what you want to accomplish, and know the standards by which you measure success of a campaign.
Okay.
You know, also vet the person. Google their business.
Got it.
You know, look at their website, look at their app, and see, like, that's what I would do if I wasn't me, if I wasn't myself, and I was looking for a digital consultant. I would say, okay, what does your website look like? You know, how user-friendly is your app? What's the interface like on, I mean, assuming that I know what I know now, I wouldn't know what a user interface or user experience was in that term, or in that sense, but that's what I would do myself, you know? So that's what I tell them. Hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Look it up.
You know, I'm going to put you on the spot with something funny you'll laugh at, but I feel this would be good, this would be a good example, and we'll laugh at it at the same time. So, Travis, our engineer, basically came up with a really good idea. It was a website domain name, and I want to see, like, we're gonna tell you what the domain name is that he has, and then basically I want you to basically tell me. You'll laugh about it. Like, what would you do this to make this a success? Because he does have the domain name.
Okay.
And it's like a new business on the side that he's doing. So I'll tell you what the domain is. You'll laugh, and then I want you to be realistic. Like, how does someone make money with this?
Off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Top of the head.
You're gonna laugh.
I'm listening.
But it's a real website that he has, but nothing's been done with it, right?
Okay.
Okay, so it's gonna be www.watchgirlsworkout.com. So the question really comes down to is, if you just have that domain, watchgirlsworkout.com, what would you do with that? You could do anything that you want, right? So I'm not even saying that it has to be something of sexual nature. It could basically be just watching girls work out. Some people like that. Just like they may want to watch men work out, right? Like it could be more of a fitness situation. It could be more, I guess, you know, R-rated. I mean, it could be anything you want to be. But the domain was available, which I was surprised that he found that domain. And he wants to start a business, but he's unsure. What are your thoughts with that? Watchgirlsworkout.com. Because a lot of people these days, right, on Instagram, and they're working out and they're showing their muscles and they're showing the behind, and you know.
Right.
So it could be anything you want. If someone comes to you, and this is a good, you know, give you an example, what would you do? What would you suggest?
Okay, now if that
You could do anything that you want with it. It's your domain.
All right, so first of all, great domain name. Love it.
Surprised it was available, right?
Right.
The guy's a guru. Travis is a genius.
I can vouch for that.
Okay. So tell me what you would do with it.
So
I'm taking notes here.
First of all, I would define what kind of girls. That would be the different categories.
Okay.
Watch girls work out is the general, right? So it would be watch short girls. That's a link. Tall girls. That's a link.
Got it.
Plump girls. That's a link. You know, that's what I would do. I would define getting a free consultation here.
Okay.
I would define that.
So basically, someone that may like or have a fetish of, what'd you say, short girls?
Short, tall.
Short,
whatever.
Asian, black, whatever it may be.
Whatever.
Okay. So they can click on the different links.
Right.
I like that. That's creative.
Now, what I would do after that is, what kind of workout are they doing? Watch tall girls squat. You know, I mean, you get where I'm going with it. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like I would.
So basically, what it comes out. So we get to the section. So are we having different people like Jane, Mary? Different people's names, and then you follow them. Is there a subscription? Is there?
See, that would be sponsored. That's what I would do.
So
because some people like showing off their workouts, and they can become influencers by that.
Correct.
So hey, ancillary to that, I would have a campaign. You want to be on WatchGirlsWorkout.com? This is our analytics. This is why you should. This is our value, and boom, send out 10. You get 1. You're good. You're golden.
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a challenge for you. I like doing challenges on the show here for different people. I'm going to challenge you to work on watchgirlsworkout.com for Travis.
Oh, this
is
is
his
fun.
new business. And basically come up with, you know, it could be anything that you want. I just don't know. Like, I know there's my fans page, and I've never been on there. I don't know how it works, subscription, all that stuff, you know.
Right.
I think it's a great idea that Travis had. So basically, if you want to work on it for Travis, I'd be more than happy to sponsor it. So you could showcase what you've done in general. But it could be, you know, like I said, you could be as creative as you want. It can be that, I guess, girls work it. I mean, he doesn't really know. So whatever you want to do with it, you know, creating a website and then creating, you know, people coming there and a subscription, I guess, or whatever you think that you could do, I thought it was interesting. I like creative stuff. I think it's different. Like I said, I was surprised when he told me the domain name was available. That I think it was a good idea.
I think so too. And again,
because people are into fitness and like I said, it doesn't have to be like X-rated. It could be like literally people working out, and it's kind of like how people say people watch people play video games, and like people like really like that. Or even like my kids, the joke is that much of there's a young Filipino kid that basically makes a lot of money where he's like trying different toys, and the guy makes millions of dollars. He's like a young kid. And he's opening up toys, and my kids are watching him opening up toys.
You know what's going on behind the scenes, though?
It's promotion, right?
It's promotion. These companies are sending him those toys. It's the new product placement.
It's amazing. I mean, I like to actually, for even my kids, Chloe and Kyla, the two girls, they're 7 and 5. I'd like to do something like that as well. I joked around saying that Chloe and Kyla. Well, I always do like cooking with Chloe, online on Facebook.
They're great kids too,
and she does some videos. Kyla's not really up to it. I actually want to have Chloe on the show, who's 7 years old, and ask her questions about like bullying and so. It would be kind of cute to bring on the show. Like, what are your thoughts about school? I mean, she's in 2nd grade. Like, what would you do if people bully? Like, she's a mini problem solver. So I want to bring on the show basically to do that. I thought it'd be cute, and then basically be good for history for time wise. But yeah, I definitely want to basically have you work on as a challenge. We did the last challenge actually. Paula and Zane Simpson, they were here for like fitness. Losing weight, and actually I sponsored someone I used to work with as a police officer in Henderson. Basically, he gained a few pounds over the years. I mean, I know him for 20 years, and he's about to retire, and I wanted to challenge somebody, so I basically paid for their 1-month membership to see how much they would lose and then come back on the show. So when you create whatever you create, you come back on the show, and then you basically showcase everything you've done. So if you think there should be an app or a website, whatever like that, and then maybe we could make it like a partnership that basically you're involved with, like equity. Like sweat equity.
I'm all for it.
And then you could showcase what you've done. You could basically showcase on the screen here, I made an app, I made this, I made that. We have a subscription. People can pay this way. And then basically at least it shows from start to finish of what you've done. I think that's cool.
I think, see, now you got the wheels turning, because I'm thinking about all the compliance that goes with that. Because off the cuff, I'm thinking this would have to be curated content. Scour the internet for everything.
But it also could be live, like if people work out at home, right? Like let's say Jane's working out at home.
Now that would be the sponsored content. That would be the featured content. That would be Jane.
Or if someone goes to the gym, right? They put up a camera and then basically they're filming themselves, or it could be live, or
right.
I don't know. It's a whole nother level.
We're just spitballing here off the
So
top
you think
of
about it in general. I want you to help out Travis with that. I think it's a cool idea, and it gives you a little bit of a project and something to work on, then showcase when you come back. Is there anything else? I know we got a few minutes left basically on the show. Is there anything? I think you're doing great stuff. I could tell by talking to you by your facial gestures and your eyes that you're very excited to do this stuff in general, which is important, right? You talk to some people and they're like blah, blah, blah. Like it just like they're saying stuff, but you don't feel the emotion. So I feel your emotion, and basically I feel that that your energy, that you really want to make great stuff. It's kind of like a person that makes movies, right? They want to make the amazing video to basically to give that experience or entertainment value, in a movie. It's the same way. You're basically, in some regards, an artist, but at the same time, you're an artist that's helping basically a small business or even a big business basically bring in business so that they can basically survive and pay employees and to have technically a better lifestyle of life, right? And if you have money, you can afford
food on the table. We're helping people feed their families. We're helping people put clothes on their backs. We're helping people live. And that's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. And to be great at that, I mean, this is America. It's built on capitalism. What better business is there to be in than building businesses for business owners?
No, I totally agree.
Just on that level alone, I feel like a true patriot.
Anything else that you want to add as we're wrapping up in a minute? Anything else you think? I think we covered a lot of good stuff. The bottom line is a lot of things going on. Things are changing. I'm sure in 30 days from now, there'll be something new. Instagram, TikTok, and who would have ever thought the other day Facebook and Instagram went down? So it was funny. Someone from Social Register, which is the local place, saying how now you realize how important it is to network with people. If you didn't have social media for the day, you got no business. So that you need true relationships. I thought that was kind of an interesting twist on what went down.
And that's why I say there's something to still be said about the handshake,
Yeah. So the bottom line is with branding and business, you have to be all over the place, right? You have to work on relationships, meeting people, doing lunch, doing the digital, doing the app. You got to be all over the place.
Doing the Problem Solver podcast.
Absolutely. So the bottom line is I really appreciate you coming on the show. We have here Daryl Jones, who's with A360, who basically does digital business consulting. And basically, again, I like to expose, engage, and convert, helping basically local businesses here in general, which is awesome. I really appreciate you doing what we came up with. Anyone that's basically listening or watching this, a 1 hour creative strategy session. Basically, we'll meet with a local business, whether it's at their place of business or they come to you, your office, wherever it may be in general, and then you could sit with them. So I really appreciate you doing that because, even if it's 1 or 5 or 10 different businesses, I mean, I really do believe that you create value. And even me talking to you right now, basically, I've gotten value out of just listening to you, and I feel like more educated. Or sometimes when you keep hearing things over and over again, basically, like I've heard meta tags before, but I've never really used it in speech.
Right.
So I feel like meta tags, I'm saying, I would think about it more now, or SMS marketing. Heard about it, but I haven't really used it in speech. So the bottom line is I'm trying to get more educated myself. So if you want to get more educated, basically contact Daryl. Daryl, what's your main number? Give us all your website, all the good stuff that out there if people want to find you.
Okay, so the website is dreamlaunch360.com. I'm at Gmail on dreamlaunch360@gmail.com. I use Google, exclusively. I could have another email. So
DreamLaunch360 basically is your website. You got a phone number that if they want to call you or something like that?
Yeah, they can call online.
Okay.
Or they can reach me directly at 702-330-2118. Again, that's 702-330-2118. DreamLaunch360.com. DreamLaunch360@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I'm definitely excited. Maybe 3 months from now, come back on the show, and then we can have you and Travis here, basically, to showcase WatchGirlsWorkout.com.
WatchGirlsWorkout.com.
And then see where it goes. See where it goes from there. It's a real thing, I mean, people are gonna have to. We're gonna laugh at this, but we're gonna come back and we're gonna say this is where it started for you and Travis.
So many ideas right now. You have no idea.
So anyway, I'm David Kohlmeyer. I am the problem solver. Every single week, basically, we're bringing amazing people on the show, just like Daryl. Daryl is really a problem solver. He's helping solve problems for local businesses, basically helping them create business, right? Bring in business digital, even though we do traditional stuff with branding and marketing. And the bottom line is, you got to stay on top of the digital trends, whether it's TikTok or Instagram, all that good stuff out there. So the bottom line is I'm David Kohlmeyer. I'm the problem solver. I'm the retired police officer helping people. Again, we have the Progressive Web app, which if you don't have a Progressive Web app and you basically need one, if you have a local business, you can see it on the screen if you're viewing this. Different tabs there if you need any type of help, problems, legal issues, real estate, mortgages, credit repair, you name it, housing, a job, employment, like whatever you basically need. I'm trying to help people one way or the other. Again, the problemsolver.vegas, my number is 702-400-7474, 702-400-7474. You can text and call me any type of problem. I'd be more than happy to meet with you guys anywhere whatsoever. In Starbucks, coffee, anywhere you want to meet, home, in the office, downtown, you name it, just text me, call me, whatever I can do to help you out. Please reach the problem solver. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.